Hey, folks, welcome back to Speculation Station. We're going to talk about not the Chase Sapphire Reserve, but a little adjacent to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, because Chase has always had a card for private client members who hold millions in assets with the bank that is a little bit more exclusive than the Chase Sapphire Reserve, but not considerably better than the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and not considerably more expensive than the Chase Sapphire Reserve. That is the JP Morgan Reserve, or previously the Palladium card. Now, this was a card that, when it was launched, was made with Palladium and has since become a brushed metal, slightly more upscale, dressed up Sapphire Reserve. This is a card that is only $40 more expensive than the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and the differences between the two cards are minute at best. The JP Morgan Reserve has one superpower over the Chase Sapphire Reserve. That is access to United Clubs. It has a full United Club membership. Now, with changes with the United cards and United Club membership, it stands to reason that maybe the JP Morgan Reserve card is also going to need a bit of an updated annual fee and maybe some other changes to the card to help accommodate some of the changes on the back end with the United Club access. That hasn't been talked about kind of at all. And it makes a certain amount of sense because it's a private client card. It is not a card that, you or I could go sign up for unless, you or I have millions in assets with Chase Private Client and you have your own Chase Private Banker and you live the Chase exclusive life, right? There are soon to be two trademark publications that from Chase that they've gotten these trademarks through the trademark process. That is the trademark for Chase Volt and the trademark for JP Morgan Volt. Both of these trademarks focus on credit cards. I'm going to pull up the trademarks now. Trademarks are very boring to look at. The language is very inane and very disguised because it's got to be broad, but you got to focus in on one or two things. There's not a lot here to process with, obviously. So we're going to look at the first one here, and this is the Chase Volt application. Now, here are the things that we need to look at. One, status date on June 4th, 2025, publication date June 24th, 2025. So if we go into the documents, we do see the amended mail process, May 22nd, screenshot of application for publication for opposition. It has been sent out for opposition. No opposition has been submitted by any other bank or any other trademark holder to contest whether or not this can be a trademark. So let's look at the goods and services provided, because it's something you have to mention with you have to put into your trademark application. Class status active. 4, credit card services, namely credit card verification, financial administration of credit card accounts, and processing of credit card annual fees, transactions, payments, and merchant refunds. 4, travel arrangement services, arranging transportation for travelers, making bookings and reservations for transportation of passengers and tourists by land, sea, rail, air, water. Ticket reservation services, namely ticket reservation and booking for entertainment events, dining events, sporting events, and cultural events. Hotel accommodation sources, provision of temporary accommodations, providing information and advice regarding hotel accommodations and restaurants. Hotel concierge services. So this is a credit card, or this is part of a credit card that would be Volt. There's also a Volt trademark. The Volt trademark itself, tied up in some things, but Volt is going to be a brand. And Volt may be the Project Emerald that was hinted at many months ago and has gone silent. Everyone's been talking about the Sapphire Reserve refresh and the launch of Sapphire Reserve for Business. But Project Emerald, and there was another project codenamed Project Halo, probably were looking at refreshes to the JP Morgan Reserve and maybe pushing a version of the JP Morgan Reserve that is going to be further, more astronomically big than the JP Morgan Reserve card currently is. So with American Express, there's the Platinum and then there's the Centurion, right? JP Morgan Reserve is only an invite only card, but it's $595 a year, and there's no card above that. So I would assume that Project Halo and Project Emerald were cards, or was a design or program that was going to go over the top of the publicly available Sapphire Reserve, and these would be cards that Chase would invite you to, and Chase will do what Chase does, and those would be the cards that are astronomical in annual fee. We're talking probably 2,500, 3,000, maybe up to 5,000 with the American Express Centurion Card. And the Centurion Card does not have good multipliers. The Centurion Card is a card about your life and making your life so much easier in terms of what their concierge can do, in terms of your hotel statuses, your airline statuses. You never have to worry about your travel to be ever again. So that's what I think Vault is going to be. And there's Chase Vault, and then there's also JP Morgan Vault, which reads exactly the same, right? We have JP Morgan Vault as that. It is scheduled for publication on July 1st of 2025. Goods and services, promoting the use of credit cards through the administration of incentive benefits, privileges, customer loyalty programs, and the offering of exclusive programs and promotions to card members. Credit card services, namely credit card verification, financial administration, blah, blah, blah. Travel arrangements, same exact classifications as the Chase Vault card. So I'm going with JP Morgan Vault is going to be this new, unforeseen, crazy annual fee card that we've never seen before that is going to come over the top of the publicly available Chase Sapphire Reserve. This would likely have an astronomically high annual fee. Now, I'm just working off of trademark publications. And these are set for publication, so we know that Volt is going to be a published trademark and available as a card feature. We know that the JP Morgan Reserve card will also likely get some sort of update, since the Sapphire Reserve is going to see its update maybe as soon as tomorrow, but it's going to see an update relatively soon. I'm publishing this in mid-June of 2025. We know that there's going to be a Sapphire Reserve business card. We know that there's also aspirations for a higher tier card, as mentioned with Project Emerald, Project Halo, projects that were leaked out over various times. These cards aren't going to be publicly announced, but these are cards that are going to be made aware of to JP Morgan private clients, and then from that awareness, then you're going to see it start trickling down, because there's going to be someone who's a member on Doctor of Credit or on Frequent Flyer Talk or on Reddit who's going to say, hey, I went to my Chase private banker today and they told me about this card that is now available to me. It has a extremely high annual fee and an initiation fee. It sounds like it's the American Express Centurion Card, but they are targeting me to consider enrolling in this. And it wouldn't surprise me if the ultra high-end card from Chase will be called the JP Morgan Vault card. And then there'd be a replacement to the JP Morgan Reserve that is publicly available, but not really, in the Chase Vault card. So you would have JP Morgan Vault, Chase Vault, Sapphire Reserve, Sapphire Preferred, Freedoms in terms of consumer cards. Then on the business side, I don't know if there is a Chase private client for business. I would assume that there is. You would see the same sort of thing. JP Morgan Vault for business, Chase Vault for business, Sapphire Reserve for business, potentially Sapphire Preferred for business, inks. Like there's a ladder that can make sense, right? So we will have to see what this ends up being, but these trademarks are set for publication. These trademarks have gone through the scrutiny of the trademark process. Chase now has the ability to launch new products under these trademark names, namely JP Morgan Vault, Chase Vault. They're working on, I'm sure the rest of the Vault public trademarks will go through. So now Vault could be a credit card line that is separate from Sapphire, that is separate from Freedom. And Vault could be where Chase does the ultra high-end experience card. This is the card where spend $75,000 a year on this card, you get $500 in the Chase shops. And this is the one where you can get IHG Diamond for spending $75,000 a year. So I think there's portions of things where maybe the Sapphire Reserve comes out with that 75,000 tier on the Sapphire Reserve is weak, but something that weak, but to folks who have no problem spending $75,000 through their cards and don't necessarily care about too many things other than like making their lives a little bit easier, could make somebody with JP Morgan private client is not necessarily flying Southwest a lot. So I can't say that the Southwest benefit goes 1-for-1, right? That Southwest benefit should just be for holding the Sapphire Reserve, but that's neither here nor there. But I think Volt is going to be the next major line that we hear from Chase. And Volt is going to be where Chase updates the JP Morgan Reserve and looks to go to the ultra high end and try to take on the American Express Centurion card with the JP Morgan Volt. And then there's going to be the Volt card. That's my speculation for now. I just wanted to take a little bit of a different direction. I've seen that these trademarks are set for publication next week and the week after, so June 24th and July 1st. That does not mean that there will be an immediate product announcement for Volt, whatever Volt may be. But don't be surprised if in the next few months, before the end of the year or sometime next year, Chase is launching a private client specific card that is the Chase Volt card that would have, I don't know, $1,500 annual fee. And then you could hear about the JP Morgan Volt card that would be even higher. So I think Chase is looking to continue to copy American Express. The next place to copy them after you are taking on the American Express Platinum card, you don't necessarily go down to the Gold card, although that makes a certain amount of sense. And maybe there's room in the delta between the Sapphire Preferred and the Sapphire Reserve to put in, I don't know, a Sapphire Essential or something. I don't know, Sapphire Premier, Preferred Premier Reserve. And that could take on the American Express Gold card. That'd be weird, but okay. That is rampant, pure speculation. But I think the other place where Chase wants to go after American Express is with that prestige type card where they've got the JP Morgan Reserve. That is not a counterweight to the Centurion. That is a card that is just a gussied up Sapphire Reserve. So I think they want to move the JP Morgan Reserve into a new category of card, Volt, and then have an even higher end card. I don't even know what that would look like, right? That would probably just come with United, not 1K, but the next Premier Platinum or something. I don't know. But just some speculation on my end. I want to take this in a little bit of a different direction. We will find out about Sapphire Reserve soon enough. I believe tomorrow is Sapphire Day, June 17th. So let's see what happens. But that's my speculation for now. If you like what I do, hit the subscribe button down below. If you want to support me here on YouTube, consider becoming a channel member. That would be $2.99 a month. You can cancel at any time to be a tidbit collector. You can check out the Stack Your Points podcast. We record on Monday nights. We release here on YouTube on Wednesdays and Fridays. We do a live on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. every Thursday. Check out my pinned comment for ways to support me outside of YouTube if you so choose. And check out the 2 videos that are going to pop up here. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.